It's the only thing we say in the pulpit, no jumping.
Okay.
So, I mentioned that this was an interactive reading, and this is the story of creation. In the beginning, as it's called in here. And it's the Lion Storyteller Bible, and this was written to encourage engagement and participation. So, as we've mentioned, Anna's going to be playing the part of God, typecasting. And we have got a variety of parts in the story. So you're going to hear God saying, we need some colour, okay? And after that, you're going to have the green growing things that creep up from the earth. So I'm going to suggest that, obviously I'm not very good at growing. Well, that way I can do, but yeah, thanks for that. So I'm really not. So a growing thing, I don't know the Benjamin, so growing things like this. So, okay, so if anyone wants to do that. Then next in the story, you will hear God saying, come forth flying things. Now, obviously, I think that's more bird-like. I'm not very graceful. Sophie will no doubt tell me. Oh, right, sorry, yes, Sophie's saying, right, they can hover as well. Yeah, very good. So you can let your minds wander on that. And then in the story of creation, we're going to have come forth walking things, crawling things, running, climbing things. So it can be any of those. So hopefully you just need to listen out for your bits. And I will do my best as well whilst holding the book and attempting to multitask. Okay? So this is in the beginning, and listen out for your part. And here we go. At first, there wasn't anything at all. Nothing. So God set to work. But he didn't use his hands or a special machine. He spoke. That's all. He said,
I'd like some light.
And there was light, brighter than the summer morning or 1,000 Christmas candles. God spoke again. He said,
Sky. I'd like some sky and some water underneath.
And sure enough, there it was, the bright blue sky with the dark blue heavens above it and the blue-green sea below.
Earth.
That's what God sent next, hard and firm as if he really meant it. And the blue-green waters parted and there was dry land underneath. Great patches of it, dirt, black and brown, here and there, all over the world.
We need some colour,
God whispered, as if he were thinking out loud. And, quivering with excitement, green growing things, thank you, crept right up out of the earth, then burst into blossom. Red, orange and blue, pine trees and palm trees, rose bushes and blackberry bushes, tulips and chrysanthemums. I'm not saying that twice. God shouted next.
Day, shining sun. Night, shining moon. Bright, shining stars.
And there they were. For morning and evening, summer and winter, time and heat and light. After that, God called to the sky as if he were expecting some kind of an answer.
Come forth, flying things.
Here we go. And very good. Oh, I'll get motion sickness. And through the clouds they came, flying high, flying low, flying large and flying small. Eagles and insects, hummingbirds and hawks. Then, I might have missed this one out, but I'm sure you can work it out. Then God called to the sea.
Come forth, splashing things.
And they came to him too, leaping right up through the waves, sailfish and swordfish, dolphins and trout, great grinning humpback whales like that one. Finally, God called to the earth.
Come forth, walking things, crawling things, running, hopping, climbing things.
And sure enough, they came, up from the burrows, down from the trees, out of the high grass and across the open plains. Now everything was ready, good and ready. So God spoke again.
Man and woman,
is what he said, as if he were calling the names of his very best friends. And out of the dust came Adam and Eve to enjoy all that God had made, to take care of it for him and to talk with him.
This is the way things ought to be.
God said at last.
This is good.
Thank you. We'll have to put that on the placement report. That's, yeah, playing God first morning or second. Thank you. Okay, thank you for I'm exhausted after that, actually. If I'm not warmed up now, I think I never will be. So, thank you for that participation. So, occasionally, I don't know whether you've ever had the chance to see them, but there are special TV programmes, kind of one off, that are sometimes titled things like Britain's Best View. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to see them, but if you do get to see them, consistently the winner is Three Cliffs Bay on the Gower Peninsula of South Wales. That's a firm favourite in the family. And it is rather amazing, I have to say. Does anyone know it? I know that there are people behind me that definitely do. It's a big favourite there, yeah. Well, that is great, I have to say. But my favourite is just around the corner from Three Cliffs Bay, and that is the many kilometres of golden sand known as Rossili Bay. Has anyone been to Rossili Bay? I thought you might have done, Benjamin, yes. You start at the cliff top and there's a nice path down, and it's something like 5 kilometres, 3, 4, 5 kilometres of golden sand all the way. It is absolutely beautiful, I have to say. And probably second is, as a boy in that Lake District vicarage, once I scraped the ice off the inside of the windows, opening the curtains, and there were the Whinlatter Fells in the distance, often with snow, and that was just in June. So let's be a bit more far-ranging this morning. I wonder, what is your favourite view from anywhere in the world? Or it might be somewhere that you are desperate to visit. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to chat perhaps with a neighbour, and then we might share some of our favourite views. So do have a chat with somebody, and I look forward to hearing some of your favourite views. Okay. So I wonder, is anyone willing to share a favourite view or destination, aspirational, or one that you've done? Oh, yeah, I think.
Norwegian fjords.
Oh, Norwegian fjords. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. Yes, there's a friend of our family. He's a musician on a cruise ship at the moment. Have gone. Yeah, that must be wonderful. Is that where you've been? Oh, lovely.
That's what exactly we have been thinking about Norway, the fjords, because we have been there a couple of times and absolutely beautiful.
Well,
and then truly you see God's creation. That's how I will sum up.
Of that, I have no doubts. Oh, how wonderful. So soaring mountains leading into those... Okay. Well, we've set the bar quite high, haven't we, really? I'm hoping this is working.
The Himalayan mountains taking the toy train up and the views from there in India.
That's, wow. Okay, Himalayas. So head for heights, anyone? Yep. Any... well, I shouldn't ignore those behind me as well. I don't know whether anyone's going to... Any favourite views? Scottish Lochs, mountains, yeah, you've got the soaring, 3,000 foot, 4,000 foot, yeah, preferably with a golden eagle soaring over the top. That would be, lovely. Any other? Sophie, have you got a favourite? No? Right. Oh, right. Sophie has a very bad memory, apparently. I know you like Three Cliffs Bay. Sorry, right.
From the top of what we call the Law in Dundee. The Law is an extinct volcano in the centre of Dundee, and when you stand on the top of there, you can see the whole of the Tay estuary and over into Fife. It's absolutely beautiful.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. So we are. We ought to. There could be a reflection book that we publish together, I think. I won't claim all the royalties. Any other views, places, destinations? Anyone's brave enough to... Oh, two here.
Just locally, looking across the lower part of the Pennine chain, the backbone of England, I like to see that from time to time. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
The whole of Cornwall.
Let's not narrow it down, the whole of Cornwall. It's, I always get confused when people, because my friends they tell me from the People's Republic of Yorkshire, they were born there, and they always say that that's God's own county, but have we got that wrong? Okay. Thanks, Wendy. Cornwall is rather nice, I must admit. So, okay, well, I'm sure that there are all kinds of different views.
The lastly is the Christ the Redeemer in the Brazil. That's something we can reflect, God on earth, embracing us.
It's above 5'5", so I probably wouldn't get there. But okay.
Huge.
I can imagine. Brilliant. Thank you, Mary. I'll switch this one off and gently put this down for a moment. Wonderful. So I'm pretty sure that our travel bill would be quite considerable, I would think, after this morning. But thinking again about the lively creation reading this morning, and thank you again for your energies, we do have a fresh look at the wonderful creation story from Genesis. And in that book, we find ancient wisdom for modern day living and encouragement, especially where God's creation is concerned. And the Bible, whether it was Old or New Testament, or sometimes described as the New and the Old Covenant, of course, it was originally an oral tradition. And yes, it was eventually written down, as we know. But it was, as my Old Testament professor used to say, designed to be read out loud, to be listened to be engaged with. And it's why I love the Line Storyteller Bible. It enables us, partly I think, to reclaim that ancient tradition, bringing the words to life, confronting us with God's love and challenge. And if we again, just as we've begun this morning, to inhabit that ancient creation story, I think there is much to help us in our harvest celebrations. I say much, please don't panic. I'm not going to try and deal with all of Genesis this morning. But we do see that God looks out on the creation and sees that it's not just good, it is very good. And that is indeed a good place to start at, even though that bit's at the end of the creation story. So I think, as with some of our favourite views, we need to view things always how God sees them. How Jesus, for example, had a love of agriculture shown in so many of the parables. And looking out and seeing that things are good is also an exercise in hope. Looking beyond and through some of the terrible things we see in creation. So like Jesus, my brothers and sisters, we are to be agents of change and transformation. And not so much secret agent, not with a license to kill, at least I hope not, but with a license to serve, not just one another, but the whole of our creation. And that's where our Franciscan brothers and sisters have much to share with us in their reverence for creation. Those who work the land, too, who travel the high seas, have much to teach us about our responsibilities towards this fragile earth and beyond. And of course, even now, we're creating space junk in orbit, glitter on a sadly cosmic scale. But we do have tremendous resources at our disposal. We know that in this story of creation, and not coincidentally the story of salvation, God is in control. Jesus, the agent of creation through whom all things came into being, hasn't just redeemed the whole of creation, but has begun the incredible process of recreation, which ends with the book of Revelation, new heaven and new earth. And I mentioned resources to help us in our thinking. Let's be Trinitarian this morning. And I've got to be careful here, as Anna has been studying the Trinity, I think, this week. But we mentioned God the Father, Jesus. But we also have the Holy Spirit on our side. The Spirit that hovered on the waters at the beginning of creation. The Spirit that drove Jesus out into the wilderness after his baptism. The Spirit poured out at Pentecost, given to us at baptism, confirmation, and each and every day, if we want. Be careful what you pray for. I don't know whether you've ever had the chance to read L.R. Knott. She's a US author, primarily on parenthood. And I think she sums up pretty well our harvest hope of all things being made new, of truly seeing that in God and with God and through God, everything will be very good. And she writes this: "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you." Here's to exploring those amazing views and seeing the world always how God sees it, that it is very good. Amen.